Buenas tardes, good afternoon, and hello. Welcome back for another reading as we continue with the chapter 9 from the Handbook of Research on Teachers of Color and Indigenous Teachers. Chapter 9 is titled, quote, "A Place Where People Care," unquote. Revisited a retrospective and vision on recruiting and retaining teachers of color by Jennifer J. Robinson and Carolina E. Gonzalez at Montclair State University. Previously, we read their introductory paragraphs to Chapter 9, along with significance of this study on page 97, and then settings and context over on page 98. Today we continue with the next section from Chapter 9, Review of the Literature, on page 98 from the Handbook of Research on Teachers of Color and Indigenous Teachers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being, and I invite you to kick back, relax, and we resume. Review of the literature. The literature on recruitment and retention. Again, rewind. The literature on recruitment and retention of students of color in teacher education provides the context of teacher education diversity that influenced this study. This review offers an overview of the strategies effectively used to recruit students of color into teaching and the factors that might inhibit that success. It also examines the strategies most frequently used to retain candidates in university-based programs and ways in which those interventions might fail to address students of color needs. Next, recruiting candidates of color in the teaching profession. Some colleges and universities have demonstrated their commitment to diversifying the teacher profession by developing programs aimed at recruiting students of color, as cited from Robinson and Moore in 2003. While the proportion of school-age students of color to teachers of color is still not what it should be, the teaching force has indeed become more diverse because efforts to recruit teachers of color to urban school districts has been successful over the past few decades, as cited from Carver-Thompson. Rewind. Carver-Thomas in 2018. Nevertheless, in communities where there is greater diversity in the school-age population, there continues to be great disparity in the percentage of teachers of color, as cited from Brown and Bozer in 2017. A multifaceted recruitment approach that draws on different pools of potential teacher education candidates. For example, middle and high school students, non-traditional and community college students, college students with undeclared majors, and career switchers increases the institution's ability to recruit a broader diversity of students, as cited from Villegas and more in 2012. Continuing now to page 99. Next, career paths and grow your own programs. According to the U.S. Department of Education report on the racial diversity of teaching profession from 2016, quote, diversity decreases at multiple points across the teacher pipeline, in which teachers progress through the post-secondary education, teacher preparation programs, and retention, unquote, and cited from page 3. This means that recruitment of candidates of color must begin at the point when P through 12 students are considered, when P through 12 students are considering their career options. The well-known Southern Carolina Teacher Cabinet program has a track record of recruiting high school students to teach. Highly motivated secondary students are attracted to the program through the opportunity to enroll in advanced placement and college courses. A longitudinal quantitative study conducted by Furman University Center of Education Policy and Leadership revealed that the Teacher Cabinet program had yielded 10,000 new teacher candidates over a period of 20 plus years. While this program has been successful, research on the broader effectiveness of high school grow your own recruitment strategies to attract students of color is still needed to determine the essential elements that can be considered best practices. Again, while this program has been successful, research on the broader effectiveness of high school grow your own recruitment strategies to attract students of color is still needed to determine the essential elements that can be considered best practices. A study by the Center for American Progress recommends that states develop programs that increase the potential pipeline for teachers of color by increasing the college readiness and high school graduation rates of students of color, as cited from Partlow and more in 2017. Policymakers are not oblivious to the need to increase the number of teachers, especially those who will serve high-need communities in high-need certification areas. A study conducted by the Education Commission of the states identified 23 states in which at least 47 bills were enacted in 2017 to address the shortage of teachers to high-need schools and certifications, as cited from Aragon S. and more in 2018. 3 states, Minnesota, North Carolina, and Washington, passed legislation to recruit high school students to the teaching profession. State funding in the form of grants for student districts has been secured to encourage dual credit and dual enrollment programs between districts and post-secondary institutions. In the case of North Carolina, the Future Teachers of North Carolina State sponsored program had legislated partnerships between universities and high schools to offer dual credit programs. In Washington, funding had been In Washington, funding had been dedicated to recruit, prepare, and mentor bilingual high school students from the most severely affected parts of the state for careers in teaching and counseling. Legislation includes incentives to begin outreach at the middle school level and to continue support and programming throughout high school, which with college credit bearing opportunities in the junior and senior years. Loan forgiveness and mentoring are available for eligible candidates who continue their teacher preparation at the college level. While statewide programs aim to recruit the best and brightest high schoolers to teach, the programs do not exclusively target students of color. The Pathway to Teaching program is one example of the successful concurrent enrollment program, specially designed to attract students of color to the teaching profession. Students are offered opportunities to, quote, try on, unquote, teaching. And these opportunities must be culturally responsive, as cited from Bianco in 2015, and Goings and more in 2018. Effective recruitment programs feature a curriculum specifically designed to engage students by explicitly pointing out why they are desperately needed as future teachers, not just because the color of their skin. Again, rewind. Not just because of the color of their skin, but because of their lived experiences in the communities that need them the most, as cited from Gist and more in 2019. Other programs, such as NYC Men Teach, New York City's efforts to recruit 1,000 male teachers of color, are housed on university campuses and led by justice-minded faculty in partnership with community and school district personnel, as cited from Hines and more in 2016. Another example is Clemson University's highly successful quote, call me Mr., unquote, an acronym for mentors instructing students towards effective role models. Designs to increase the pool of male students of color to teach in the state's lowest performing elementary schools. Call Me Mr. has been replicated. Call Me Mr. has been replicated successfully across states and on several university campuses, as cited from Jones and more in 2019. There is a need for more programs to help youth see their value as individuals who can overcome the marginalization many students of color experience in their schooling that causes them to reject academics. Finally, the idea that people can be attracted to teaching at different phases of their life has not been fully examined. However, there has been experimentation again. However, there has been experimentation through several initiatives, such as Troops to Teach and Returning Retired Teachers. Individuals in other professions or who are retired may wish to change their career paths and, if interested, can be recruited to teach preparation programs. Can be recruited to a teacher preparation program. Lito, in 2008, addressing the lack of Latinx STEM teachers, recommends the recruitment of second career Latinx teachers from the ranks of current math and science professionals and urges the collaboration of private and public sectors to develop financial incentives for tuition, in-service professional development, and competitive salaries. Rewind. Again. Lito, in 2008, addresses the lack of Latinx STEM teachers, recommends the recruitment of second career Latinx teachers from the ranks of current math and science professionals, and urges the collaboration of private and public sectors to develop financial incentives for tuition, in-service professional development, and competitive salaries. Okay. Pause. Okay. Resume. Next. Community college partnerships. The collaboration between 2- and 4-year institutions is another approach to increasing the number of teachers of color, beginning with strengthening the development of articulation arguments, as cited from Villegas and Moore in 2012. Hierarchical thinking has long caused a division between 2- and 4-year institutions of higher education. These divisions have placed barriers to the seamless transfers that would be enabled by articulation agreements so that teacher, continuing to page 100, candidates, so that teacher candidates are able to complete their bachelorate degrees without having to add time beyond 4 years. Some of the best practices observed, however, include 2+2 agreements in which any candidate who completes an associate degree may be admitted to the undergraduate degree program and guaranteed completion in 2 years. In many states, the incentive to enter teacher education in this way is enhanced when there is an offer of free community college and access is open to all residents, as cited from Villegas and Moore in 2012. Villegas and Moore in 2012 cited several states committed, again, rewind, several states' commitment to developing strong articulation agreement programs geared to facilitating the transfer of students of color into programs of teacher education at 4-year institutions. Next, recruiting paraprofessionals. Rewind. Recruiting paraprofessionals, non-certified teachers of color, and teacher. Again, non-certified teachers of color and career switchers. This is over on page 100. Again, recruiting paraprofessionals, non-certified teachers of color, and career switchers. Alternative routes to teaching certification enroll more racially diverse candidates than traditional teacher preparation programs, as cited from the U.S. Department of Education in 2016. In 2016, 35% of non-traditional teacher education candidates based in an institution of higher education were students of color. Fewer teacher candidates of color, at 2%, were enrolled in a traditional teacher preparation program, as cited from the U.S. Department of Education in 2016. While it is more economical for candidates of color to enter alternative route programs to obtain teacher certification, research shows that those who remain longest in teaching come from high quality preparation programs that have an intentional conceptual framework with a stated mission and goals, as cited from Carver Thomas in 2018. Programs over these type pay careful attention to addressing student development, deeper learning outcomes, and critical thinking. They also attend to the cultural needs of P through 12 students and emphasize achieving positive impacts for students. Again, rewind. Positive impacts for those students. Okay. Resume. A highly successful grant-funded program to recruit and prepare non-traditional candidates into teaching was Pathway to Teaching Careers. The strand of the program that focused on recruiting paraprofessionals and emergency certified / substitute teachers proved to be the most comprehensive and successful of the 4 strands studied. Notably, nearly 15% of the participants were teachers of color, which increased the diversity of new teachers for the districts where they taught. According to a study of the program, Selwell and Villegas in 2001 found that the paraprofessionals completers of color tended to remain in teaching longer than the average new teacher in urban areas where they were able to serve as role models in the P through 12 students they serve. To the P through 12 students they served. Recommendations for the study included developing local, state, and national policies to support programs that recruit from non-traditional pools as one strategy to simultaneously increase the number of teachers for high-need areas and diversify the teacher pool. Programs seeking to recruit candidates of color should develop partnerships with high-need communities where many racially and ethnically diverse candidates may be recruited. Okay. And pause there. Thank you for joining as we read this part from chapter 9, looking at the literature review from chapter 9 and followed with recruiting candidates of color to the teaching profession, career paths, and grow your own programs. Which led us over to community college partnerships and recruiting paraprofessionals, non-certified teachers of color, and career switchers. To pause with, that being on page 100 from the Handbook of Research on Teachers of Color and Indigenous Teachers. Thanks to Chapter 9 again by Jennifer J. Robinson and Carolina E. Gonzalez at Montclair State University. Chapter 9 titled, quote, A Place Where People Care, unquote. Revisited, a retrospective and vision for recruiting and retaining teachers of color. To which next, from this chapter, we can look forward to more from the section of literature review, specifically what leads us to their recruiting undeclared graduate majors, subsection on page 100 from the handbook. Thank you, and with that, we can look forward to recruiting undeclared majors from chapter 9, and wish you a good day. Till next time.